Good evening once again. Let us continue our part 2 of our module 3 water governance session, foundations of water governance session. The before previous slide, I mentioned there are more than 10 principles. I just ran through. Now I wanted to take you through in a crispy manner, principles of water governance using the given example by the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, developed 12 principles on water governance, which helps governments to design, implement, and evaluate effective water governance system. Because OECD is an international organization helping nation governments to come up with water governance projects. The country like Zambia, currently we have more than 12 projects running in different provinces applying water governance principles. It's partially funded by the state as well as outside grants. But it's a macro level effort to design water governance projects. So these principles, internationally recognized, they were grouped into 3 dimensions. So though I mentioned 12 principles, but we can group them into 3 principles. One is effectiveness of our system, then efficient system, trust and engagement. Because these principles, basically, it provide framework for strengthening the institutions, water-related institutions, improving their coordination, increasing stakeholder participation, and ensuring the accountability in water governance. So that's the reason for OECD come up with these principles in a guiding note. It's not like a guiding note. If you follow these principles, they are willing to fund the major projects. Okay, let us begin with effectiveness. Dimension 1, effectiveness. What do you mean by effectiveness? Any effort, it should be a measurable effort. Effectiveness measures whether the government institutions are capable of achieving intended policy objective. Because there are different dilemmas are there. The role of government is to provide drinking water to its citizens. So how they are going to measure the effort of providing citizens the potable water or protected water? So we need to assess the effectiveness of governance institution. Do they have any capacity? Do they have experience to achieve the intended policy objective? So we need to look at the effectiveness of governance institutions, the one we setting up at nationwide. So these assessment or measure assessing the effectiveness of governance, we need to ask ourselves, are appropriate institutions are established by the government? Are responsibilities clearly defined? Our policies are implemented successfully? So this question we must ask to assess the effectiveness. So when you are setting up a water governance institution like Lusaka Water and Sewage Company, the entire Lusaka drinking water and sewage activities were managed by one company. It's an semi-autonomous institution initiated by Kaunda, the first president. So we need to apply these questions to assess our governance system, governance institution. The characteristics we need to build we need to make sure the institution we built, is it have a clear institutional mandate? If it is not there, then we need to make sure clear institutional mandate should be established. Then we need to bring strong leadership, because you are dealing multi-stakeholders. So strong leadership is needed to accommodate each and everyone. Coordination among the agencies. Though you are the topmost agencies, but still you need to play your role along with others, like producers, transmitters, revenue collectors, different actors are there. Then we need to emphasize integrated planning with your organization, effective policy implementation, then river basin management for sustainable utilization. The second dimension, efficiency. Efficiency measures whether water resources are managed using the least possible cost while maximizing socio-environmental and economic benefit. Though we are creating user pay principles, but still these user pay principles, how you are going to keep it least possible cost and also to maximize socio-environmental economic benefits. So whatever we are setting in, the operating cost coverage ratio must be followed. So whatever you are spending to generate water to reach the household, so all the costs must be recovered. So operation cost coverage ratio must be, you need to come up. Then you need to price the water for different audience. There are some non-revenue water users. Then we need to keep it in that also in our mind. Then water use efficiency according to the specific audience. Then infrastructure performance, consequent changes, financial sustainability. These are the characters or indicators we need to maintain in terms of efficiency. Then dimension 3, trust and engagement. Trust is essential because governance depends upon the public confidence. Otherwise, our governance system is not going to work. So maintaining trust and engagement, the components like transparency, integrity, participation, stakeholder engagement, public accountability, compliant resolutions, social audit. These are the components we must maintain in our governance setup. So maintaining these components, we need to keep public consultancy free in frequent intervals, public access informations, community participations, response to compliance, anti-corruption mechanisms. These are the things we must be measurable indicators. Though I mentioned the indicators and the principles, but still I want to emphasize the governance indicators specifically. Because without indicators, it is not easy to apply the OECD principles, not only OECD principles, improving our systems. So any governance structure cannot improve unless it is measured. So it's in a broader term, but still we need to assess, we need to measure the improvement. These indicators which helps our system must be functional. So it is the indicators are needed to assess the performance, identifying weakness, comparing progress, improve the accountability, supportive evidence. For these purposes, the indicators are needed. So as I mentioned, OECD, they have a framework, that framework which involves institutional capacity, which we discussed earlier, regulatory effectiveness, participation, economic sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So these 5 components, part and parcel of the governance mechanisms. So each mechanisms, we have indicators to measure. So if it is an indicator, institutional indicators, we need to measure the institutional indicators. We need to measure the leadership style, capacity of the organization, coordination effort, human resource, technical competency, governance structure. We need to measure. These are the institutional indicators must be measured. Then regulatory indicators. If you have an act, you need to evaluate the act, whether it is performing or not. Whether these compliance, is it implementable or not, licensing, inspection, monitoring, conflict resolutions. These are the regulatory indicators. We need to keep it. Then economic indicators, how long you are going to invest, cost recovery, tariff structure, infrastructure finance, PPPs, subsidies. So these are your economic indicators in your water governance. Then environmental indicators, watershed health, you need to monitor your ground level water quality as well as groundwater, pollution control, climate resilience, biodiversity, ecosystem protection. Whatever we discussed in theoretically, maybe you may think that, is it realistic? Yes, it is realistic. Several countries are implementing. My experience in Zambia, it performing well. The OECD principles are performing well, especially European Union's contribution is heavily on that project, but it is performing well. So integrating governance component in institutional structure, legal framework, stakeholder participation, economic instruments, environmental sustainability. So these are the 5 components interacting continuously and collectively to determine the governance performance. It's not as a individual components, it's interlinked one another. So it works collectively to determine the overall performance. A few examples I'm giving here. Singapore Integrated National Water Agency with advanced technology. They are managing the city water issues in a perfect technological way. In Canada, decentralized governance with indigenous participation. They set an example. Then community-based water resource associations are very common, effective in handling the governance issues. European Union, each river basin management under water framework directives, they are effectively managing the lakes. There are few best practices. How to measure the best practices? A best practice is supposed to be consistently achieved. It's not about pilot. The same best practice must be applied consistently. So we need to apply sustainable water resource management principles, equitable access, efficient allocation of water resource, strong stakeholder participation, transparent decision making, climate resilience, long-term institutional sustainability. Then successful governance system share the common characteristics of difference in geography and political systems. So if your system is best, if you say this is a best practice, then it must have a sustainable water resource management principles, systems, equitable access to water for all the stakeholders, efficient allocation of the resources, strong stakeholder participation necessary, transparent decision making, climate resilience, long-term institutional sustainability, successful governance system. These are the common characteristics of a best practice. So when you're looking at different best practices, the following items are the common success factors in best practices. Most of the successful projects have strong legal framework, clear institutional responsibilities, application of IWRM concept, stakeholder participation, financial sustainability, then continuous monitoring and evaluation, evidence-based decision-making, adaptive governance system. So these are the underpin for the successful projects around the globe. There are 3 case studies I'm giving here. Case study 1, Australia's national water policy. So Australia is one of the world's driest inhabited continent. You will see a lot of drought, competing demands, which leads them to come up with the National Water Initiative in 2004. So in their National Water Policy, they have put it water access as an entitlement. It's not like a service. In their act, water access given as an entitlement, then water trading is also part of the act, market-based allocations, river-based planning, environmental water allocations, strong scientific monitoring, and cross-jurisdictional coordinations. So these are the key features accommodated in 2004 Act. This ultimately, the last 20 years of national water policy achievements, when you're looking at the achievements, it improved water use efficiency, better allocation during droughts, the different competing needs were considered during drought, then enhanced agriculture productivity, increased environmental flow, transparent water accounting is achieved. But still they have some challenges like climate change, balancing agriculture and environmental needs, indigenous water rights, maintaining ecosystem health. Water policy reforms in India, though it's a contested one, but still we can able to, it's in a vast country. It's in a vast country and also have a competing demand. So water policy reforms, me also participated in this process somehow as an activist. India faces increasing water stress due to increase in terms of populations, rapid urbanization after 1990s, then industrial expansions, then groundwater depletions. It's astonishing. In some places, the water level goes behind 1,000 meters. Then climate variability, because it's a vast country, climate variability is also causing water level. So with these stressing factors, National Water Policy 2012 came into practice, which emphasized IWRM concept, Integrated Water Resource Management concept, which prioritize water into drinking water, sanitation, and food security. So these are the competing demands. For example, river water previously utilized for the purpose of agriculture alone. But nowadays, it's not easy. That alone is changed. Now the priority is changed into drinking water, sanitation, and food security. Those days, food security is the topmost priority, but now food security moved into third layer. So that's how national water policy is trying to capture, trying to accommodate competing demand. The major reform in 2012 National Water Policy, it emphasized uh, participatory irrigation management. That is how the water user associations were on demand, part of the law. Then demand side water management. As I mentioned earlier, the agriculture is the lone sector utilize the surface water. Now have demand side water management. Then harvesting the rainwaters, groundwater regulations. Nowadays, it's not easy to drill a borehole without getting permissions. But before 2012 Act, if you have money, you can able to drill the borehole. But now it's not easy. Then wastewater reuse. So every municipalities and households were insisted to reuse. Community participation is also emphasized. Then promotion of efficient irrigation technologies. So the agriculture users, they were asked to change their motor equipments, efficient irrigation technology like drip, sprinkler, different type of irrigation technologies were introduced. Still, it's a continuing challenge because of the river pollutions, because of industrial demand, industrial effluent. It's a continuous challenge to utilize river pollution, the river water, because of the river pollutions. Then interstate water disputes, sharing water between states. It's nowadays it's an tangible uh, issue. Then groundwater over extractions, especially in urban areas and high demanding commercial crops. Then institutional fragmentations. So water is a subject of state as well as national government. So there is a contradictory things are there. Then unequal water access. The exploitation of water from rural area to urban areas, it's a very big issue, especially in most of the growing urban centers. Almost theft happening nearby villages. What kind of lessons were learned in terms of um, competing challenge post 2012 Act? Still, the water policies require strong implementation. Though it was almost it's 15 years, still the certain loopholes like groundwater regulations are not implemented countrywide. Still water pollution is biggest issue. So there is a policy, the policies that require a strong implementation. It need political will to speedy or strong emphasize in terms of implementation. Then community participation improve sustainability. But still, in many cases, community participation used, but it's not in a full scale. Traditional knowledge complements the modern technologies. So still, storing water is one of the biggest strength utilized under national water policy. NGOs and water governance, many part of the world, the contribution of NGOs in water governance were recognized in different sphere, especially in Latin America. So what role NGO can play in terms of water governance, where the common capacity is very limited, like um, the government with limited capacity to roll out certain programs, all the nooks and corners of the country. It's not easy. So in that case, NGOs can helping hand with the government in terms of mobilizing community to the water projects. So community mobilization can be, NGO can be actor to support community mobilization aspects. Then NGO can jump in to support the role of state in water and sanitation projects. This is what many vast NGOs were contributing in um, urban centers, especially. Most of the handwash campaigns were promoted by NGOs at school level in rural areas. Then they can also contribute, they can also chip in terms of capacity building, hygiene education, advocacy for water rights. This is one of the biggest area NGOs are contributed. Even myself, almost 10 years of my work centered around advocacy for water rights, especially the riparian rights of uh, the last person who's supposed to receive the water. Then in some cases, NGOs also can run infrastructure development in water sector. Then environmental conservations, especially watershed programs, implementation of watershed programs can be part of NGO work. I can able to give you few examples from Argentina, Central America, how the NGOs shaping the water governance roles. In Argentina, advocacy against water privatizations. Cochamba water project, city water is privatized completely. The civil society group in Cochamba, they came strongly against the privatization of drinking water. So they advocated against the water privatizations with the support of local citizens. Then the promotion of water as a public good. So that's a campaign was well recognized around the globe in terms of water rights. In Central America, not only in Argentina, Central America, community water systems were safeguarded or strengthened by many NGOs. Then rural sanitation projects, climate resilience projects, community trainings were contributions of many civil society groups. In terms of success factors, the NGO contribution, NGOs were emphasizing their role as a local owner. They are emphasizing through their effort, through their capacity building, through their community models. They are strengthening local ownership, community participation, partnership with the governments, and capacity development. These are the areas NGOs are contributing through their effort. But still, they are facing a challenge in terms of limited funding, political resistance, sustainability after donor support, institutional coordinations. So these are the areas NGOs are struggling in terms of taking forward their work. So in the these case studies are just, but still you can able to go through the case studies which were given in the handout fully, so that you can get full understanding about various water governance project. Here, thank you. I'm saying thank you to everyone for your patience to watch the video. See you some other time. Thank you.